Welcome, dear listeners, to History with Herodotus, where we embark on a journey through the annals of time, unraveling the mysteries of our collective past. Today, we find ourselves at the threshold of a most remarkable tale, one that would change the course of human history, the discovery of penicillin. As we delve into this fascinating story, let us first set the stage, for it is in the earliest whispers of this discovery that we find the seeds of revolution. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the world was a vastly different place. Diseases that would later become manageable were then death sentences, claiming countless lives with ruthless efficiency. The streets of London, circa 1870s, were filled with the sounds of horse-drawn carriages, the smell of coal smoke, and the hum of human activity. It was amidst this backdrop of suffering and scientific curiosity that the precursors to the discovery of penicillin began to emerge. Let us transport ourselves to the Royal Infirmary in Edinburgh, Scotland, where a young scientist by the name of Joseph Lister was making groundbreaking strides in antiseptic practices. His laboratory, filled with the scent of carbolic acid and the soft glow of gas lamps, was a hub of innovation, where Lister's meticulous experiments and observations would lay the foundation for a new era in medicine. The year was 1865, and Lister's work on the use of carbolic acid as an antiseptic would soon become a cornerstone of modern surgery. As we explore this pivotal moment, we find ourselves in the midst of a scientific community driven by curiosity and a desire to alleviate human suffering. The likes of Louis Pasteur, a French chemist, and Robert Koch, a German microbiologist, were all contributing to the narrative that would eventually lead to the discovery of penicillin. Their work on germ theory and the role of microorganisms in disease would provide a crucial understanding of the mechanisms that underlie infection and illness. The stage is set in the early 20th century, with scientists like Alexander Fleming, a Scottish biologist working tirelessly to understand the intricacies of microbial life. Fleming's laboratory at St. Mary's Hospital in London, with its rows of petri dishes and neatly labeled test tubes, would become the epicenter of a discovery that would change the course of human history. The year was 1928, and the world was on the cusp of a revolution in medicine. As we examine the historical context of this period, we find a complex interplay of scientific inquiry, technological innovation, and societal need. The discovery of penicillin was not an isolated event, but rather the culmination of decades of research and experimentation by countless scientists and researchers. From the early work on antiseptics to the development of germ theory, each discovery built upon the last, creating a foundation for the revolutionary breakthrough that was to come. The events that unfolded during this period were marked by a series of chance observations, meticulous experiments, and collaborations that would ultimately pave the way for the harnessing of penicillin's power. The work of scientists like Ernest Duchesne, a French scientist who had observed the antibacterial properties of mold, and Howard Florey, an Australian-born pharmacologist, were all contributing to the narrative that would eventually lead to the discovery of penicillin. The stage is set, the players are in place, and the conditions are ripe for a revolution in medicine. Join me next as we step into the midst of this discovery, witnessing firsthand the serendipity, genius, and perseverance that define the journey towards unlocking the secrets of penicillin. Welcome back to History with Herodotus, where we continue our journey through the annals of time, unraveling the mysteries of the discovery of penicillin. Let us transport ourselves to the year 1941, when Fleming's chance observation of a mold-contaminated petri dish had sparked a chain reaction of events that would change the course of human history. The streets of Oxford, England, where Florey and Chain were working tirelessly to develop a method for mass-producing penicillin, were filled with the sounds of war and the hum of scientific activity. It was amidst this backdrop of global turmoil and intellectual curiosity that the first human trials of penicillin began. The results were nothing short of miraculous. Patients who had been on the brink of death from infections like septicemia and pneumonia were suddenly recovering, thanks to the powerful antibacterial properties of penicillin. The news of these breakthroughs spread like wildfire, and soon, scientists and medical professionals from around the world were flocking to Oxford to learn from Florey and Chain. One notable example of the power of penicillin was the treatment of Anne Sheaf, a 15-year-old girl who had been suffering from a severe case of septicemia. Her doctors had given up hope, but thanks to the timely administration of penicillin, she made a full recovery. This and other similar cases helped to establish penicillin as a game-changer in the fight against bacterial infections. As we explore this pivotal moment, we find ourselves in the midst of a scientific community driven by collaboration and a desire to alleviate human suffering. The likes of Norman Heatley, a British biochemist, and Andrew J. Moyer, an American microbiologist, were all contributing to the narrative that would eventually lead to the widespread adoption of penicillin as a medicine. The work of these scientists was not without its challenges, however. The process of mass-producing penicillin was complex and required significant technological innovation. The development of new equipment, like the penicillin plant designed by Heatley, and the creation of new methods for purifying and concentrating the antibiotic, were all crucial to the success of the project. As we examine the historical context of this period, we find a complex interplay of scientific inquiry, technological innovation, and societal need. The discovery of penicillin was not an isolated event, but rather the culmination of decades of research and experimentation by countless scientists and researchers. From the early work on antiseptics to the development of germ theory, each discovery built upon the last, creating a foundation for the revolutionary breakthrough that was to come. The events that unfolded during this period were marked by a series of significant milestones, including the first use of penicillin in a clinical setting, the development of new methods for producing and purifying the antibiotic, and the establishment of the first penicillin production facilities. These achievements paved the way for the widespread adoption of penicillin as a medicine and cemented its place as one of the most important discoveries of the 20th century. The stage is set for a revolution in the treatment of bacterial infections, and the world will never be the same again. Join me next as we explore the lasting legacy of the discovery of penicillin and examine the impact that this breakthrough has had on modern medicine and society. Welcome back to History with Herodotus, where we continue our journey through the annals of time, unraveling the mysteries of the discovery of penicillin. Let us transport ourselves to the post-war era, when penicillin had become widely available and its impact on modern medicine was being fully realized. The 1950s and 1960s saw a significant decline in mortality rates from bacterial infections, as penicillin and other antibiotics became the standard treatment for diseases like pneumonia, septicemia, and meningitis. One notable example of the power of penicillin during this period was its use in the treatment of soldiers during the Korean War. The widespread adoption of penicillin as a medicine saved countless lives and reduced the incidence of wound infections, which had been a major cause of morbidity and mortality in previous conflicts. However, as the years passed, concerns began to emerge about the overuse and misuse of antibiotics like penicillin. The development of antibiotic-resistant bacteria, which could not be effectively treated with existing medicines, became a growing concern. This was exemplified by the emergence of methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus in the 1960s, which highlighted the need for responsible use of antibiotics and the development of new treatments. Despite these challenges, penicillin remained a cornerstone of modern medicine, and its discovery paved the way for the development of many other life-saving medicines. The work of scientists like Alexander Fleming, Howard Florey, and Ernst Boris Chain continued to inspire new generations of researchers who built upon their discoveries to create new treatments and therapies. As we examine the historical context of this period, we find a complex interplay of scientific inquiry, technological innovation, and societal need. The discovery of penicillin was not an isolated event, but rather part of a broader narrative that highlights the power of human ingenuity and collaboration in the pursuit of medical progress. In the words of Alexander Fleming himself, the discovery of penicillin was a chance observation, but it would not have been possible without the years of research and experimentation that preceded it. This sentiment encapsulates the essence of scientific discovery, where chance and genius entwine to create something truly remarkable. From the development of new treatments and therapies to the inspiration of future generations of scientists and researchers, the discovery of penicillin will forever be remembered as a pivotal moment in human history. Join me next as we explore other fascinating stories from the annals of time and uncover the secrets that have shaped our world today. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, remember that to understand the present, we must first understand the past.